Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be a bikini cover-up tutorial. If you came from my TikTok, there's this tutorial there, but if you need a more in-depth version, then you came to the right place. What you're going to need is a 9mm hook or just a bigger hook in general with some smaller yarn in order to create that kind of open look, and for the top to kind of fall down where the chest area is, you're going to need a bigger hook for that, and then some scissors to cut off your work. But yeah, we could just get started here. Starting with our slip knot. This is how I do my slip knots. And then you're gonna want to chain the amount from your the left side of your waist to the right side of your waist, so just the front of your waist. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying, and you just want it to be fitted kind of in any area you really want. You could do your hips, you could do your waist. I'm gonna be doing my hips, so I'm gonna be chaining 34, and you want to make sure that your chains are really loose as well. Alright, so this is about 34 chains, and I'm gonna start working from the second stitch from my hook. So you could see the first stitch right there. I'm gonna be working into the second one right here, and I'm gonna be working a double crochet. So what you're gonna do with the double crochet is you're gonna yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch, come over, yarn over again, and now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're gonna yarn over again, pull through just 2 of those loops, and then you're left with 2 loops on your hook, and then you're gonna yarn over one last time and pull through both of those loops. So you're just gonna do that all the way down the row, and I'll meet you once we get to the end of the row. But just continuing to do those double crochets and making sure that your stitches are pretty loose. So no need to tighten or anything like that. Just keeping them pretty loose and working all the way down. So I'm nearing the end of my row here. You could see I have 3 stitches left to work into. So just keep working those double crochets and then ensuring that it's pretty loose. And then you'll see here, it's my last stitch. And now that we're at the end of the row, we're just going to chain 2, turn our work, it's looking pretty, and we're just going to continue our double crochets. So in between every row, we're going to chain 2, so don't ever forget your chain 2, and then just continuing with the double crochets, but this time we're going to be working into our top loop. So you could turn your V's and you could see, or you could turn your work and see all the little V's, and we're just gonna be working into that top one. So facing this way, every loop there. So yarn over, go into that first top loop, and just keep working your double crochets and making sure your work is very loose. And you just continue that all the way down the row. So just keep going. And then I'll meet you at the end of the row. So now that we're at the end of row 2, we just have our last few stitches. And then sometimes it can be hard to find the last loop or the last stitch before the end of the row, but you could see and look for those chain 2 from the previous row and then find that last stitch. Nice. Okay, so now that we're at the end of our row 2, chain 2, and then we're going to turn our work again, and then we're just going to be working that same exact pattern. So in the top loop or the top stitch for every row, and you're just going to be working double crochets, chaining 2 in between, and you're just going to stop once it fits your chest area or wherever you want it to fit, and then I'll meet you once I get to that point, and then we'll know what to do with the straps from there. So yeah, just keep going until you get the length of the top that you would like, and just keeping your stitches really loose is key here to get that really open look. So yeah, I'll meet you guys back once I get to all my rows. Okay, so we're nearing the end of our 3rd row here, and I just wanted to give you guys a reminder of how to know when you're at the very end of the row and not putting stitches into the chain 2 from the previous row. So you could see here, if you just turn your work, you'll see these V's again. So you just count 1, 2, 3. So you could tell that I only have 3 stitches left. And so that's when you want to be ending your row. And then once again, you could flip your work over, find that last V before the chain 2, and then just work into that last stitch there. And that's gonna keep your work super straight and not become uneven. I remember starting out, all my work would come out uneven, and that was the reason, but now you know. So you could just chain 2 and then just keep going. So now I'm nearing the end of my rows and the length that I want, and so now I'm just going to count off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm on my 12th row, and I'm going to be finishing off on my 12th. So you can see that the stitches are super loose, and just maintain that all the way throughout your work. So keeping them really, really loose, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. So I'm at the end of my 12th row, and we're just gonna finish off with our stitches, and then we'll move on to the straps. So just keep going. Last stitch here, we can see, turn our work and find that last V. Now we're gonna cut off our work, and to cut off, we're just gonna chain 1, leave a tail, get your scissors and cut that off, and then pull through. So that's gonna be the end of our top. So nice job. And then I'm gonna show you how to do the straps. So for the straps, essentially the top is gonna fall down like this, and we're gonna do braided straps on both ends here and also on the bottom ends as well. So basically all 4 corners we're going to be inserting some straps. So yeah. So for this, I'm just going to be taking a smaller hook. You don't need a smaller one, but sometimes it's helpful to do that. And we're just going to insert it into our first corner stitch and stop until it's about halfway, so that it's at equal length on both sides. And then we're just going to continue that with our next pieces of yarn. So I'll do it in this corner stitch, and then end halfway there, and then do our last corner stitch, which will be right here. Insert that, pull your yarn through that last corner stitch there, and then you could see here, this is where we're going to be braiding off our work. So for the next part, we just take our straps and literally just braid it off. I usually put something heavy on top so that it makes it easier, just making sure that your work doesn't get kind of mixed up with the braid. And you can see here I'm taking the tail end that I cut off from earlier, and I'll also be adding that to the braid as well. Alright, so we've done the straps for the top, which is going to hang like this, and then we've done the bottom right corner, and now we just have the last corner here. And what we're going to do once again, same as all the other straps, is we're going to cut off 3 pieces of yarn 60 inches each, and we're going to insert it into this stitch, that stitch, and this stitch as well. So for this, you usually want to take, once again, a smaller hook. So this will be the first stitch that we insert in. Just take one of those pieces, yarn over, pull through, and you're going to stop so that it's about halfway and equal on both sides, and just lay it to the side here. And then we're going to do it the next corner stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then for our last stitch, the same thing. We're inserting it here, or let's find that stitch. You could see the V there, and we're just going to insert it to that stitch, and then that'll be it. And then once again, we're just going to braid off. You could see the tail from our work from our top here, and we're just going to include that in the braid so that it's nice and clean. And yeah, just making sure you have something to set here, and then being able to just braid it off. And we'll come back once that's done. Okay, so now that we're done braiding off our strap, we're just going to take the end and tie that off. Make sure you get all the pieces of yarn through. Did I? Yes, I did. Okay, perfect. And now we just pull, tie off that knot, and then to clean up our work, take our scissors, cut it off so it's all even, looks nice and pretty. And yeah, that is the end of the tutorial. So once again, this will be the top. It should hang down like this, and you just tie it off with the straps, like so. And yeah, all done. Great job, guys. Let me know what you guys would like to see next.